Chess, played by millions of people across the world. A game I always wanted to be good at but didn't have the patience. A game that takes a lifetime to master, and even the most gifted child prodigies take years to reach world level. So the question I ask myself, how realistic is it to become a beast at chess in just 7 days? And the answer is, you would have more chance winning the lottery. But could I at least become a decent contender, holding my own against an average long-term player? There was only one way to find out. I spent the majority of the day learning the game. I knew the rules from school but had not played in over a decade, and maybe played 5 games in my lifetime. Chess.com has great lessons to get you up to speed. I learned a lot, including some very basic things I didn't know, like castling. Another thing I kind of knew but hadn't given it much thought was openings. I just kind of thought that the best in the world like Magnus Carlsen and Bobby Fischer used their genius to win. Which is true, but they also used openings. If I was to get anywhere in chess, then I would have to pick 2 openings and learn as much as possible. I watched a ton of YouTube videos to try and decide what were the most effective beginner openings. I ended up finding a great channel, a guy called Alex Banzia. He is an international master and goes in depth on both the openings I chose, the London system for white and the Carol Khan for black. I stuck to a few of the main variations of the openings. For the Carol Khan it was the advanced, the exchange, the classical and the Panov. For the London system you didn't need to know as much, and I concentrated on move order, the Joe Bava and setting up a Greek gift. I knew with such little time I could not learn much theory and instead was relying on patterns. I watched as much as I could, including lines, traps and games that Alex had to offer. He is a great teacher and I will link his channel in the description. Day 2. Not ready for a game yet, I tried my hand at puzzles. Over 1,000 of them. Honing my pattern recognition and finding targets on the board. A few downsides I noticed with the puzzles is how rushed I'd done them, not taking my time. And I was also looking for mate on every puzzle. There was nothing wrong with that, but I would do it with no care for my other hanging pieces. I decided 1,000 was enough, as I could feel bad habits forming. Day 3. It was time to challenge myself against some of the bots at chess.com. They have a great selection of bots for all skill levels. You can even face up against some of the world's best, and if you're feeling brave enough, you have a selection of chess cats to play. I stayed well away from them and began at a beginner bot. For those of you who don't know, the player's ELO rating is the number next to their name. The higher the better. The best in the world are just below 3,000. At this moment in time, the thought of playing someone in the thousands seemed daunting. I began with Martin, who was 250. I was pleasantly surprised how easy he was to beat. Next was Alani, who was a 400. I managed to beat her without much trouble, playing instinctively and totally forgetting the lines of my openings. Aaron, 700. It took a few turns but I managed to win using a Carol Khan. The first few games he exploited my king side, but I made the adjustments and won. The first few wins only had 2 crowns. I, being a noob, didn't know you had to turn it to challenge for 3 crowns. Zara, 850. The same thing happened. I took her to endgame with a Carol Khan, and after a few tries I managed to get the win. So far it was smooth sailing, and each bot took me no more than 10 tries to beat. Day 4. Emir, 1,000. From this point on, it was brutal. My inflated ego got checked from game 1. He knew everything I was going to do, cutting through my London system with his queen and absolutely running rampant with my Carol Khan. He would do the same moves and I would make the adjustment and he still would end up destroying me. 32 times on the losing end and I finally took him out. Day 5. Ali, 1400. My 2 openings were much better by this point and I was beginning to memorise certain lines long enough to give me the advantage. I took him to middle game on a few occasions, but I'd always throw it away with a clumsy rushed move. 57 games in and I took him to the end game with the Carol Khan. He was lining me up for the mate and I managed to get there before him with a pawn and my queen. I had beaten a 1400 rated bot. I couldn't believe it. It took me a while but I'd done it. Pablo. 1600. I have never hated someone or something so much in my life than this 1600 bot. I'm normally a chilled guy, but I was so close to smashing my computer up. The way he had an answer for everything I'd done. I swear it felt like we played the same game 100 times. The exact same moves, and it ended up the exact same every time. 121 times I lost to this gentrified beardo, smiling at me, and I only got to the endgame a handful of times. But this time on the 122nd game, I had him on the run. I'm not gonna lie, I was kinda scared when I got the jump on him. I slowed the game down and really analysed each possible move. Luckily, there isn't a time limit with bots. I probably could have mated him loads of times, but my mind just went blank. I bricked it and went for the second queen, eventually beating him. I felt like a student surpassing the sensei. Lee, 2000. This was completely out of my depth and I quit after 40 games. I had achieved much more than I thought I would have and called it a day with the bots. Before you ask how I've done so many games in one day, I'll tell you. Each game lasted no more than a few moves before one of my major pieces was taken. Only a few games made it the distance. 5 days into the challenge and I had managed to get pretty good at 2 chess openings, beating bots that I thought was out of my league, and doing 1,000 puzzles. I was ready to be rated, so I decided to do it a day earlier, because why not? Day 6. Rapid is the mode I thought best suited a beginner, giving me enough time to think if I got stuck. You have to complete 5 games to become a rated player. My first time playing a real person was a lot easier than I thought. Getting destroyed by 1600 bots had improved my awareness, and I got the first win with ease. Then the next one, then the next one. They were making mistakes that just jumped out at me and I punished them for it. Each time I won, the next player would be a high elo rating. I won all 5 games with checkmates or resignations, and was awarded at 828 elo rating. I don't really know how they come to that conclusion, and I thought they would keep giving me people higher and higher until I lost, but they didn't. I was proud of my elo rating, especially for 7 days training, but I couldn't help feel underwhelmed. I wanted to jump 100 at a time until I lost, but chess.com know what they are doing, and kept me just short of the 1,000 mark. Day 7. Because I had done the rating early, I had a spare day to try and climb. I made a rule, if I lost 3 times in a row, then I would stop and end the challenge there, but I didn't. I began raking in win after win after win. The only times I lost was from cheap traps that I had not yet sussed out from my lack of experience, and from chess.com disconnecting. While doing this challenge, the website was very buggy, and the servers would overload at certain times. I made it into the thousands and tapped out at 1079. I'm very happy that I finally learned chess, and I'm quite a good player for only 7 days, if I do say so myself. I really enjoyed the process, and there is something very addictive about crushing an opponent with a hidden checkmate when they think they have the advantage. I've got the chess bug, and I will definitely be continually learning and trying the elo climb. I hope you enjoyed this challenge. Let me know your elo and what you would have done differently if you had 7 days to prepare. I'll see you next time.